The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water, just 31 miles wide. 20 to 30% world's oil, food, and energy depends on this route. What happens if it shuts down?
Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway that plays a pivotal role in global energy transportation. We'll discuss its geographical location, significance, and why it remains a focal point in international geopolitics. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow passage that forms the gateway between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, ultimately flowing into the Arabian Sea. It is strategically located between Iran to the north and the United Arab Emirates and Oman to the south. It serves as a primary narrow outlet for oil and natural gas, traversing from the Gulf states to the global market. The same Middle East where the war is going on started, by US and Israel, who launched the attack against Iran, which they claim was a threat. Iran, in response, is attacking their assistant allies in the region, cause of which international shipping has alarms came to a standstill at the entrance of the strait, which is almost 31 miles wide. According to U.S. Energy Information Administration (EIA) data, almost 3,000 ships sail through Hormuz every month, a connecting bridge for international oceans. Most importantly, the smooth operations of Strait of Hormuz is in the direct relation to stable global energy system. What would be the impact of closing the strait? About 3,000 or so ships usually sail through the strait each month. Analysts have warned that the longer there are threats to ships passing through the strait, the higher the price of oil and the shipping of it will be. It is de facto closed in that no one dares to go through. Arne Lohmann Rasmussen, chief analyst at Global Risk Management, a provider of energy market insights, told CBS News, the BBC's U.S. partner, last week, "You can be attacked, and you can't get insurance or it is extremely expensive. So you have to wait until the security situation is better. If oil and gas coming from the strait is cut off, that has significant ramifications for the market," he added. While there is no physical blockade, threats from the Iranians, plus drone and missile attacks, mean tankers are not going through the strait. A spokesman for Iran's Foreign Affairs Ministry, Ismail Baghai, told CNBC on Monday that oil tankers passing through the strait must be very careful. Energy prices have soared since the start of the war, with huge swings, coming close to $120 on Monday before falling back. They remain well above levels before the conflict. According to data from the London Stock Exchange Group, the cost of hiring a supertanker to ship oil from the Middle East to China has almost doubled, from last week's price to a record high of more than $400,000. The almost complete closure of the vital shipping lane has also hurt Gulf countries, like Saudi Arabia, whose economies rely heavily on energy exports. Iran, by comparison, exports about 1.7 million barrels per day, according to the International Energy Agency. Iran exported 65 MB worth of oil in the financial year ending March 2025, its highest oil revenue in the past decade, according to estimates by the Central Bank of Iran. A blockade of the strait will also hit Asia hard. In 2022, around 82% of crude oil and condensates, low-density liquid hydrocarbons that typically occur with natural gas, leaving the Strait of Hormuz, were bound for Asian countries, according to EIA estimates. China alone is estimated to buy around 90% of the oil that Iran exports to the global market. Because China uses that oil to make products it then exports to other countries, higher oil prices could also mean higher prices for consumers around the world. Routes will create delays that have already jacked up the cost of shipping goods from one point to another. These rising costs are set to increase oil energy prices worldwide. Once the traffic through the strait stops, the oil prices go up. If the oil prices go up, then everything goes up. The worst combination of higher prices and a slower supply chain could lead to both higher inflation and slower economic growth. That means household budget around the world will feel squeezed and longer. The ongoing conflict drags on, the more people will feel it. The things that will happen if the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Immediate oil price spike. Global economic recession stagflation. Major disruption in Asia energy supply. Military confrontation and reopening efforts. Severe LNG shortage and reopening efforts. Global shipping rerouting and cost. Iranian financial self-suffocation. Fertiliser and food security crisis. Release of strategic petroleum reserve. Industrial shortage and supply chain. Black swan. Electrical equipment, semiconductors. This strait is one of the world's most crucial choke points for oil transit. Approximately 20% of global petroleum and about 35% of the petroleum traded by sea passes through the Strait of Hormuz, making its security a critical concern for energy markets worldwide. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point for global oil transportation. Approximately 20% of the world's oil exports pass through this narrow waterway. The ongoing conflict and Iran's blockade have led to a significant increase in global oil prices. The announcement signals a sustained disruption in oil supply routes, potentially exacerbating global energy market instability. Iran has declared its intention to continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which is the world's busiest oil shipping channel. This statement, attributed to Iran's new supreme leader and broadcast on state television, follows recent reports of attacks on several ships, including oil tankers in the region. If the ongoing war crisis is not resolved, if no resolution to ongoing war crisis is done after the global fuel shortage, the next would be upcoming global food crisis. The headlines explain how Strait of Hormuz is affecting oil supplies, but no one is talking about the ships carrying food and basic important food supplies. Fertilizers. Gulf supplies half of the world fertilizer. Fertilizers are the chemicals which make the crop grow. Gulf nations Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain are responsible for almost 20% of world trade of fertilizers. Fertilizers include ammonia, phosphate, sulfur, the main building block for the crops. Nearly half of the world traded urea comes from this region. Urea is a widely used fertilizer on planet. It makes the wheat grow, rice paddies, corn yields. The announcement of the U.S., Israel attack on Iran, the prices went 15% up. The longer Hormuz stays shut, the worse it gets. The Strait of Hormuz is the key link between energy, fertilizers, and food, as every step of food runs on energy. The major source of energy is fuel, from machines to production and growth of the food of any sort. We can take that energy itself takes 50% of the food cost. By the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the wealthy Gulf states are not safe as they rely on the food imports to cater the need of their country. Countries like UAE, Qatar, Kuwait produce almost no food of their own, which eventually will result in using their emergency food supply. The world has spent years calling the Strait of Hormuz an oil choke point, but it is the food choke point as well. Can alternative routes avoid the blockade? The persistent threat of closure has prompted oil-exporting countries in the Gulf region to develop alternative export routes. Saudi Arabia operates a 1,200 kilometers long pipeline capable of transporting up to 5 million barrels of crude oil per day. The United Arab Emirates has connected its inland oil fields to the port of Fujairah on the Gulf of Oman via a pipeline with a daily capacity of at least 1.5 million barrels. Oil could be diverted along alternate infrastructure to bypass the strait, but this would lead to a drop in supply of between 8 to 10 million barrels per day. The strategic importance of the Strait of Hormuz has made it a hotbed of political tensions. It has been the site of various military confrontations and is closely monitored by international naval forces to ensure the free flow of oil remains uninterrupted. The Strait of Hormuz remains a critical artery for global energy supplies, making its stability essential to the global economy. Its strategic position will continue to make it a key point of interest in international relations and energy security. The potential consequences are severe: continued disruption of global oil supply chains, escalation of geopolitical tensions, and further volatility in global oil prices impacting economies worldwide. This information underscores the critical role of the Strait of Hormuz in global energy security and the profound implications of any disruption on international oil markets and geopolitical stability.